everybody, and welcome to Department Spotlight, where we talk to our friends and colleagues about just things in the film industry. Today, we are talking with Bre'anne Holz, who is the producer of all 6 of our films. All 6. Like, me and Mark, we only directed 3 each. Even with writing, we co-wrote, so we had backup. Bre'anne did all of them on her own. But she also had some help on some of the films from Leah Sharples. So she was the producing assistant on some of the films. But the majority of the films Brie did herself. So let's start it off. What is the role of a producer?
So I think a producer works very closely with each department to try and make the film happen. So besides for organizing, making sure everything runs smoothly throughout the production process, in every phase, and also just problem solver and basically just trying their best to make the production happen the way it is in the director's vision and everyone's vision.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when people get hurt on set, Brie takes them to the hospital.
That was the first.
That obviously hasn't happened, except that one time that it happened.
Yeah.
So
which is cool. It's a good experience, I guess.
Yeah.
To know how you deal with internal panic under pressure.
So let's talk about that situation. So on the film Alle Grappies op 'n Stokkie, our lead actress Tanya got a splinter from the doghouse go not in her thumb, through the thumb. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a tiny splinter, but
it was big.
Okay, it was for a splinter. It was huge.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a log, So she went to the hospital. They
cut it out. They could just cut it out.
So you're telling me that
stitched it
cut open the skin and then pulled it out?
Yeah, so the splinter was through. They just cut.
Whoa! It went through this way.
Yeah.
I thought it went through that way.
No, it went through
the fat.
The width.
The width, yeah. And then they stitched it up, and she was so brave. She got local. They injected her. Damn.
That's crazy. Tanya's a rock star.
She is the best.
When it happened, right? What was going through your mind? Just talk us through that from a producer's perspective.
So it was a little bit strange because obviously it happened. I didn't know how serious it was or how serious it would be because I thought it was just a splinter. But I was actually pretty calm until we were driving to the hospital, and then I started feeling So I think when it happened and realizing I'm just going to take her to the hospital, I don't know, maybe that's just how I dealt with it, to just stay calm.
Stay calm. Which is very important. If all of us were what do I do? What would have happened?
I think
dying inside.
I think if it was more serious, life-threatening, I probably would have panicked.
How do you get into producing? What do you need to do? What do you need to have? What do you need to think about?
I got into producing because I got a degree in producing. I think though, if you didn't study and you want to get into producing, you definitely just, I was speaking to a cameraman about it the other day. If you have nothing but you want to be in the industry, you just have to knock on doors and say, I'll work for you guys for free for a month. I just want to learn. And it sucks. It's going to suck, even if you have to do it for months. But you're not going to, even me with my degree, I'm not just going to get a producing job in the studio and be happy, I guess. It is, unfortunately, a bad experience. They're going to want to see, what can you do? What can you handle? I went for an interview at a studio and, the general vibe was that, oh, she's just out of varsity. And even though I have a degree in it, there's still this thing of what do I know? What does she know? Can they trust me with stuff? So...
Yeah, there's definitely a stigma about film school in South Africa, I think. A lot of people... Because it is one of those fields where you can sort of, like you say, get experience rather than, like medicine, you have to study before you can be a doctor. Or accountancy even, you have to do that before you can And film people just like sort of get on sets and then they work their way up, which is a perfectly fine way to do it. But then a lot of people then think that your film degree doesn't really mean anything, you know, and then they have this like thing of like, oh, you studied, well, I've got 10 years, or you studied for 4 years, I've got 4 years experience. I know what I'm doing. Whereas what have you done? How many films have you done? You're like a couple of short films.
That stigma does exist, and it's kind of, for me, I understand both sides. Personally, when people think we don't have experience coming out of college, it does irritate me because we made short films in college. I know we were in like this little protected bubble, but we did have experience. But then on the other hand, that's what people think, like being on an actual set is very different to being in a college environment where like you kind of babied a little bit because they make sure your film gets done, where in the real world you make sure your film gets done. I think that also leads into, if you want to be anything in the industry, even a producer, like you need to be able to show that you can do it. So even if you have a degree or if you've been working on sets for like free, you need to be able to show what you can do, and you need to show that you can do it well. That's also like a really big thing. People like connections, obviously you need to know people, but you also have to be able to show what you've done and show that you can do it really well. Maybe not the best, but like good enough so that people will hire you, and trust you on their film.
So I want to ask, what is the secret to a successful production?
I mean, if there is one, I don't know.
If there is one.
I don't think there's a secret or a list of secrets. I think what makes a successful production is having a dedicated team. If we're talking specifically short films though, right? Having a dedicated team who really want to be a part of it and who are willing to help, I think when you get to bigger films, it becomes very sectional and it's like, this is my job and I'm going to do it. And whereas with a short film, everyone kind of helps each other in a way. I mean, not hectically. So I would say the secret is to just work with people who you trust and who are dedicated and work hard. It's not like slack work or easy work working on a film. So yeah, I don't know the secret.
No.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I think that's important. Like we mentioned this in the directing one as well. Spoiler alert. Like the people that you work with, you have to like care for them as well. They're doing their part to help you for like less money or whatever, but then you also have to do your part and like make sure that they're comfortable and they're happy and they know what they're doing and they feel like they're contributing rather than just you using them. So I think it's like a two-way street. Because
it's definitely a relationship. It's not just like you're here to do your job and I'm here to do mine. Yeah.
Which I think, well, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience or any experience in features, but I think that does get lost sometimes, because when people get paid a lot of money to do things, they just show up to do the job and then they leave. Like one of my friends is on a big feature film right now, and there's like a big American actress on it. And he says that she literally just, as soon as lunch, she just takes the food, goes to her car, sits there alone with the producer, and she's just like, I don't care about anybody else. Not the producer, with her bodyguard. And she's like, I don't care, I'm just going to eat my food here, call me when you need me, So I think that's something that I'm not looking forward to when I get to features eventually.
It doesn't have to be that way.
But it doesn't have to. That's what I was about to say.
The director or the producers create that environment.
Yeah. That's what I was about to say. I wanted to say like, you need to hold on to that like short film thing, which is why I like doing a lot of short films. So yeah, let's move on. Right, so thank you so much, Bre'anne. So subscribe to Luke Pictures on YouTube and check out the podcast for the full-length version of this conversation over on Spotify and all of those podcasting platforms. So let us know, like, do you guys like these shirts? We got the Make Your Movie shirt, we got Loot Picture shirts. Would you guys be interested in buying them? Let us know.
I know I would.
But yeah, let us know. Is that something that you'd be interested in? Maybe we can like start up a store, you know? All right, guys. So go out there and make your movie. All right, we can cut it, right? Cut it there, cut it.